Right now, there are over 40 million adults in the US that smoke cigarettes. Did you know that of those 40 million, only almost 70% of them want to quit, while our new drug, Nicotine and Kick It, can help them?
I'm one of the head neurologists working to develop the drug Nicotine Kick It. This drug is going to be a revolutionary tool for those wanting to kick their nicotine addiction problems. Nicotine is a drug found in the tobacco plant and is present in any substance that incorporates tobacco, including cigarettes, cigars, and chewing tobacco. Nicotine creates chemical changes in the brain through the release of stored dopamine, which results in mood alterations and temporary feelings of pleasure. Once ingested, the nicotine travels throughout the body in seconds, reaching neurotransmitters in the brain. Nicotine will bind to the receptor called the alpha-4 beta-2 nicotinic acetylcholine receptor. Nicotine mimics acetylcholine, the natural ligand for this receptor, and will bind in unnaturally large quantities, causing an unnaturally high release of dopamine in the brain. This feeling of pleasure is what makes nicotine addictive. When the dopamine release stops, the brain is left with a deficiency of dopamine, which creates low, unhappy feelings. As nicotine is introduced to these receptors, they will form a resistance to the drug, requiring people to smoke higher doses of tobacco to feel the same pleasurable feelings. Pristone is a drug currently being developed to help individuals who wish to quit smoking without the fear of harsh withdrawal symptoms associated with the abrupt cut of nicotine from the body. This drug will have a shelf name of Nicotine Kick It. Pristone is a synthesized molecule which acts as an allosteric inhibitor and binds to the alpha-4 beta-2 nicotinic acetylcholine receptors without inducing conformational change. Pristone will be mixed with tobacco and sold in a traditional cigarette wrapper. When the Pristone and nicotine enter the body, the Pristone will bind to the receptor first so that the nicotine does not have as many places to bind. With a decreased release of dopamine, the user will not receive the same amount of pleasure they normally do from smoking and be inclined to stop. After a few hours, the bound Pristone will deteriorate and allow the natural ligands to regulate the release of dopamine. An immediate transition from being a regular nicotine user to not using nicotine causes harsh withdrawal symptoms such as headaches, nausea, fatigue, anxiety, and depression. To lessen the severity of these symptoms, there are 4 stages with varying concentrations of the drug. The first stage of cigarettes contains 80% nicotine and 20% Pristone. The second, 60% nicotine, 40% Pristone. The third, 40% nicotine, 60% Pristone. And the last stage, 20% nicotine and 80% Pristone. Pristone will be able to reduce the amount of nicotine that binds to the alpha-4 beta-2 nicotinic acetylcholine receptor, decreasing the release of dopamine and reducing the harsh withdrawals felt when quitting smoking. The 4 stages of increasing Pristone concentration will allow users to gradually relieve the effects of nicotine withdrawal as well as allow them to break down their brain's resistance to nicotine. This will allow them to produce more dopamine through natural processes rather than relying on tobacco to serve as a high dopamine release. Initially, the user will use the first stage of the drug, allowing them to receive almost the same amount of nicotine and pleasure as they are used to from smoking a traditional cigarette. The transition from lower Pristone concentrations to higher concentrations allows the user's body to slowly adjust to the removal of nicotine from the system and lessen the impact of withdrawal conditions. Pristone users should be aware of the side effects associated with the drug, including slight depression, lack of focus and motivation, fatigue, mood swings, and memory loss. If you notice any of these symptoms or bodily changes that are not common for you, stop taking Pristone immediately and contact your doctor.
Smoking cigarettes is the leading cause of lung cancer and can lead to many terrible other diseases and conditions, including respiratory infections, arthritis, osteoporosis, heart disease, and even blindness. Nicotine Kick It is effective in decreasing your body's addiction to nicotine, which allows a larger release of dopamine through natural processes. This sets Nicotine Kick It apart from the leading brands such as nicotine gum, patches, or e-cigarettes. This drug also doesn't carry the uncertainty and unpleasant side effects that come with these alternatives either. This product will be available at any of your local drugstores. It is designed to be a 4-week program that lets you smoke during it, but encourages quitting through lessened withdrawal effects. You'll be able to buy 4 cartons that have different levels of nicotine and Pristone concentrations right in the cigarettes. That way, the process will be gradual and easy. Nick It and Kick It allows you to feel that you're continuing with your normal routine, but at the same time decrease the amount of withdrawal symptoms associated with smoking and decreasing the intake of nicotine that you would get from smoking a cigarette. This product is very innovative in that the main drug used, Pristone, is actually inside the cigarettes themselves. The user will be inhaling smaller and smaller amounts of nicotine and larger amounts of Pristone over the 4-week program. The result will be lessened resistance to dopamine release and less of an urge to pick up another cigarette.